Thinning veil, the sky above Neo-Kyoto was dying, though it did so with a clinical agonizing grace. High Architect Elara Voss stood upon the observation precipice of the Zenith Spire, her hands clasped behind her back in a posture of rigid aristocratic composure. Below her, the floating city hummed, a low-frequency vibration maintained by the resonance weaver. This rhythmic pulse kept the massive tectonic plates of the city suspended via diamagnetic levitation above the toxic high-pressure mists of the old world. But Elara's eyes were not on the city. They were fixed on the horizon, where the vibrant artificial gold of the octa-sheeted shield was beginning to undergo a phase shift. It was a subtle erosion of the carbon manipulation lattice to the untrained eye. The sky remained a masterpiece of geoengineered brilliance. Who had designed the sequestration coils herself, the dissipation was as glaring as a compound fracture. The deep cerulean, the result of Rayleigh scattering tuned to specific particulate density, was bleeding into a pale, sickly, translucent gray. The oxygen-rich tint was thinning the molecular bonds of the synthetic ozone, failing to hold against the solar wind. The partial pressure of oxygen has dropped another 4 millibars since the morning cycle, a voice said behind her. Elara did not turn. She recognized the cadence of chronic Zenith. Carried the dry, dusty timbre of a man who spent his life submerged in the archives of deep reach, surrounded by the scent of ancient parchment and the hum of data crystals. Precisely for 22 millibars, Elara corrected, her voice a cool blade of scientific precision. The graphene resonance lattice in sector 7 has reached its limit of elastic deformation. We are no longer sequestering carbon. The lattice is undergoing spontaneous decarboxylation due to thermal fatigue in the silver tuning arrays. Kalen stepped forward, his robes of woven silver thread shimmering. He held a small crystalline tablet. The records of 442 have described a similar shift. Architect before the perpetual twilight, the survivors noted a bleaching of the firmament. They thought the heavens would be washed clean. In reality, the high altitudes you too. Scrubbers had reached a state of chemical equilibrium they couldn't break. I am not interested in the superstitions of the high elves. Chronic blur, Elara said, though her gaze softened with a flicker of somber recognition. The shattering was a catastrophe of extraction. This is a catastrophe of optimization. We promised the citizens a self-sustaining utopia under the Iron Dome. We claim that by rejecting silicon-based intelligence, we could achieve a more stable analog harmony with the world's resonance. And yet, Kalen murmured, the math is failing the lungs. A sudden ripple in the air signaled the presence of the unseen. A maintenance worker clad in an active camouflage suit that rendered him a mere distortion in the light. Moved past them to adjust a sensor array. He was a ghost in a city of light, a member of the cast whose invisibility was the price of their survival. Elara watched the shimmer of his movement, a microscopic vitality within the metallic crucible of the spire. He was a necessary phantom, a human component in a system that forbade autonomous repair bots. The unseen are reporting increased turbulence in the lower thermosphere. A third voice boomed. Overseer Joran Grail marched onto the deck, his heavy boots clanking against the resonance-strewn floor. He was a man of iron and shadow, responsible for the management of the labor castes. The Octis dissipation is no longer a secret Voss. The sensors in the residential tiers are picking up the pressure drop. The people are starting to notice the chill. You can't hide a dying sky with propaganda and silver tuning forks forever. Elara finally turned, her expression unreadable. The public announcement is scheduled for the transition cycle. We are not hiding it, Overseer, we are quantifying it. Quantifying it won't stop the panic Grail counter. The moment the word failure is uttered, the floating districts will become a powder keg. We have lived in the shadow of the shattering for centuries. The fear of the dark is encoded in our DNA, which is why the message must be clinical. Elara said we will present the dissipation as a planned recalibration of the carbon manipulation project, a temporary thinning to allow for the installation of the new resonance arrays. A lie, Kalen noted softly. A stabilization of the social fabric, Elara retorted. The hubris of our ancestors was their reliance on machines that thought for them. My error was not in the design, but in the assumption that the carbon lattice would remain chemically inert. I accounted for the physics of the wind, but I underestimated the catalytic effect of the silver resonance on the nitrogen-oxygen balance. Grail grunted, crossing his massive arms. And what of the eclipse? The orbital projections show the first alignment occurring in 72 hours. When the sun vanishes behind the lunar debris, the temperature will drop 40 degrees. Without the carbon blanket to hold the heat, Neo-Kyoto will freeze. Elara looked back at the sky. The resonance weavers are already tuning the silver forks to the heat retention frequencies. We will solidify the air around the residential hubs, creating a localized said the world hum is growing discordant. The ancient machines of the high elves, the Chronos engines, they were never meant to be silenced. By abandoning the old ways for silicon-free logic, we have lost the melody of the planet. The old ways led to the shattering. Elara's voice rose, the first sign of 5 out of 10 intensity, breaking through her clinical veneer. They over-extracted the solar essence until the gate exploded. We chose the iron mandate for a reason. We chose safety over the madness of infinite growth. Safety is a relative term when the air is escaping into the void. Grail said, I've seen the reports. There are rumors of Chronos engine shards being traded in the black markets of the unseen. People are so desperate for a future, they are willing to inhale the past for a 3-second window of precognition. Elara felt a cold shiver.
The use of chrono shards was a capital offense. If there is a black market, overseer, excise it. But do not bring me tales of superstition while I am trying to hold the atmosphere together with mathematics and silver. Grail stared at her. Mathematics cannot feed a starving lung. Architect, he turned and left, his footsteps echoing like a funeral drum. The hour passed with the agonizing slowness of a glacier. Elara moved to the central broadcast hub, where the air was thick with ozone resonance. Weavers stood at their stations, their silver forks prepared to broadcast her voice across every tier of the city. Are we synchronized? Elara asked. The world hum is steady. A weaver replied, but there is a static. A dissonance coming from the void drive. Testing grounds. Filter it, Elara commanded. She looked into the optical sensor. Citizens of Neo-Kyoto, we stand at a juncture of transition. Our carbon manipulation project is undergoing a scheduled phase of radical recalibration. This is a controlled dissipation necessary to integrate the next generation of resonance arrays. In the back of the room, Grail watched her. He knew the truth. The recalibration was a desperate attempt to fix a fundamental flaw in the lattice's molecular stability. However, Elara continued, this transition coincides with an eclipse. We ask all citizens to remain within the resonance-shielded sectors. Our resolve is absolute. We do not fear the dark, we simply tune it to our own melody. She signaled to cut the transmission. The silence that followed was deafening. Architect, a weaver shouted, pointing at a holographic projection. The void drive test in Sector 9, it's creating a feedback loop. Elara stepped to the display. A massive tear had appeared in the carbon lattice near the docking pylons. It wasn't a dissipation, it was a total structural collapse. The gravitational well, Elara whispered, the blood draining from her face. I calculated the resonance of the air, and I calculated the thrust of the drives, but I failed to account for the harmonic coupling between the two. The void drive's dark matter folding is vibrating at the exact frequency of the carbon lattice's failure point. Outside, the sky began to change. The bruised violet was replaced by a terrifying absolute black. The void drive hadn't just folded space, it had acted as a catalyst, shattering the fragile resonance-tuned atmosphere like glass. The sky isn't thinning, Kalen said, his voice trembling, it's falling. A shimmering aurora began to dance around the tear, gas molecules ionizing as they were sucked into the vacuum. It was the ultimate price of scientific hubris, a system so finely tuned to avoid the madness of AI that it lacked the flexibility to survive a single mathematical oversight. Overseer Grail, Elara said, her voice regaining a terrifying icy calm. Seal the lower tiers, redirect all power from the void drives to the resonant shields. If the elite want to flee, they can do so in the dark. We are holding the air. It's too late, Grail said, looking at his monitors. The pressure drop in Sector 9 just hit 40%. The unseen are already gone. As the first shadow of the lunar debris began to creep across the city, the temperature plummeted. Elara felt the chill in her bones, a cold that no resonance could heal. She looked out at Neo-Kyoto, a shimmering crucible of light, and realized she hadn't built a utopia. She had built a pressurized coffin. Record this, chronicler, Elara said, her hand gripping her silver tuning fork until her knuckles turned white. Record that we lost the sky, not because of the stars, but because we were too proud to admit our harmony was a discord.